This is the MELLCOM 10 by 13 gazebo with the hardtop, and I haven't seen really any videos showing how to put this thing together, but it looks like it's pretty cut and dry to me. We'll see. These are the columns laying there and the base plates. That's the first step, and we've identified all the rest of the parts. It took about probably 20 minutes just to get all the screws and stuff separated, and we put them into separate containers just to not get things mixed up. And I'll keep photographing as we go. So I'm assembling the top frames. The way I found to do it easiest, I had a straight edge I laid up there on my sawhorses and built it right on top of the straight edge. That way it just lines up perfectly. So I'm going to build all these sub-assemblies, and you can see the columns standing up over there. Base plates are on them, and we're ultimately going to go up on top of the deck with this thing. So I'll keep you posted. All right, so we're building the long sides of the frame, and what I did was I just squared the columns to the top and screwed it down tight. So it should be within reason. It seemed to parallel up pretty good. So anyway, moving forward. So we stood up the first long side and we actually screwed it down into place. Then we stood up the other long side, and after laying it out, squaring it up, and making sure everything was the right distance apart, we screwed it down. And then we added the two end pieces, and they bolt it right up. Just make sure everything's square and plumb. And then we attached the 45-degree braces. Okay, we're 3.5 hours into it. Frame's complete. All the trims are put on. All the curtain hooks are put in. We squared up the structure. It's like 14'6" inside to inside on the diagonal to square it up. So we set it square, hooked up all the bracing and all that stuff, squared everything, and I feel pretty good about the whole thing. I will say I used a number 4 metric Allen tip in an impact gun that really sped things up. They give you a little Allen wrench with the kit, kind of a joke. So far, so good. So on to the roof. All right, so we got all the rafters in. And I'll tell you how I did it. I mean, they tell you to get up on a ladder, hold that thing in the air, and have somebody go around and put their ribs in. But instead, I just set part L on top of the trash can and bolted the 4 hip ribs onto it. Then I just carried the whole thing up on a ladder and got it close, and then my wife just went around and set it into place at the columns. Threw the screws in it, piece of cake, compared to try to hold that thing up and put those in individually. So yeah, this went pretty well. Everything lined up once again, no problems. At this point, we installed the top cap, and then we put all the roof panels in around the top cap. And that was a bit tedious. It's kind of a tight fit, so it took some doing. One thing I'll mention, take the stickers off before you put the next roof on, because it's really hard to get back to these things. But the trim and everything went on okay, and everything lined up all right. It was just a slow process. Well, I gotta say, after about 8 hours, I'm pooped. And I'll tell you, as slow as this roof goes, I mean, it's just tedious, lots of bolts and stuff to line up and all that. So I'm thinking another decent day, to actually finish it up, get all the drapes in, all that kind of stuff. But still, not bad. Everything fit good. Tomorrow's another day. Well, we're coming down the home stretch. It takes just about an hour to put the little clips on the edges of the eaves, and about an hour to do a side, roughly. The trims went on good. All the screws lined up. There's really nothing difficult about this. It just takes 2 people, and it's just a bit of a tedious job, but it's really no problem. I will say that when you put the clips on top of the center spars, I guess you'd call them, you ought to tape them up there into place, so when you put your panel on top of it, all you got to do is line it up and drop the holes. Trying to get that thing in after the fact is really a little difficult. So that worked pretty good for me. You can still see some tape up there where I put that middle one. But this is where I'm talking about. Right up in there. Because you have to put a screw into the blind nut, and you got to get that plastic piece up inside of there. So yeah, lesson learned. Well, took about 4 hours, but the roof is now 100% complete. All the trim is on, all the trim caps are on. Only thing left to do is the curtains and the screens and that type of thing, but other than that, she's all done, and really happy with it. I really don't think, I wouldn't call this difficult to put together. I would think it's just time consuming, that's all. Everything lined up perfectly. Didn't have to drill a single hole. I did use a nail set to, help align the holes as I was putting the decking up there, that kind of thing. Let me show you what's left over when you're finished putting this kit together. A couple screws, a couple little inserts, not much. So don't lose any parts. Geez, that's about all I can tell you about this thing. Hope this was helpful to somebody. How cool is this? The day after I finished up the roof, a big old rainstorm, and it's just dry as can be. And there's not a single leak in this thing anywhere. And I have my own tin roof to listen to the rain hit. This is great. In summary, my wife and I are both right around 68 years old, and it took us about 12 hours to complete the project, and that includes a few beer and wine breaks. So I would highly recommend this product to anybody looking for a nice hardtop permanent gazebo. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video.